It's the splash we've all been waiting for. The Giants have signed Jung Hoo Lee to a reported 6-year, $113 million contract with an opt-out after 4 years. Welcome into the Kerry Crowley Show, breaking down all things Giants baseball. And for the first time this winter, there is good news to discuss. Jon Heyman reporting earlier in the evening on Tuesday, the Giants signed Jung Hoo Lee, the center fielder out of Korea, to the 6-year contract. Clearly, the Giants want to get more athletic. They want to have better defense, and they want to have someone who can help set the table at the top of the order, which is why Lee was one of the top free agent targets for this team this offseason, and they got the deal done. This is the first 9-figure contract that Farhan Zaidi has given out in his tenure as the San Francisco Giants president of baseball operations. It's one of the biggest splashes the organization has made in free agency in recent memory, and this is a deal that can help the Giants build momentum, re-engage their fan base, and re-energize a team that desperately needs to find ways to contend with the Dodgers and the Padres and the Diamondbacks in the National League West. So this edition of the Kerry Crowley Show, we're going to keep it short, just react to the big-time news. And really, this is good news for Giants fans, good news for anyone who wanted to see this team make a splash, who questioned ownership. And I was among the people who was saying that ownership really needs to spend and needs to show a commitment to going out and potentially overpaying for free agent hitters this offseason. And maybe that's what the Giants just did with Jung Hoo Lee, who doesn't have a great track record of power in Korea, but what he does have is the ability to put the bat on the ball, the ability to draw walks. He controls the strike zone, and he plays great defense. The Giants, for years, have struggled to fill the gap in center field. It's been a revolving door in center field of guys who didn't necessarily have the athleticism to shine in the outfield, and this is a move that brings Jung Hoo Lee to the organization, plugs that spot in the outfield, and potentially gives the Giants the leadoff hitter that this team desperately seeks. No, we don't know how Jung Hoo Lee will immediately adjust to the United States and how this transition will go for him coming over from the Korean baseball organization. But what we do know is that he is one of the most sought-after free agents on the market this offseason for a reason. Because when you look at his stats in Korea, and I'm going to read right here from the Baseball Reference page, this is someone who has hit 300 in every season he has played at the professional level. 2017, 324 batting average. 2018, 355 batting average. 2019, 336 batting average. 2020, 333. 21, 360. 22, 349, and 2023, this season, as a 24-year-old in the KBO, he hit 318. The numbers were down this year because he had an injury. I believe it was a broken ankle that hampered Jung Hoo Lee throughout the season, but the Giants have decided that he is worth their investment. The first 9-figure investment of the Farhan Zaidi era, and it shouldn't be the last, and it shouldn't even be the last this week or this month. The Giants should use this as an opportunity to go out and convince other free agents that they are serious about contending in the National League West. This should be the move that weeks from now we look back at as a domino effect for the Giants. This should be the move that we say finally got this organization over the hump in free agency and attracting a hitter to Oracle Park, and this should be a move that helps re-engage fans, assuming Lee is everything he is billed as, which is a very solid hitter who can play atop the lineup for you, who can play a solid center field, and who gives the Giants a left-handed bat that can then extend the rest of the order. A Giants team that has looked for years to solidify center field has got their man in Jung Hoo Lee. So let's break it down. 6 years, $113 million. Those are the terms that Jon Heyman and Ken Rosenthal reported on Tuesday evening. Opt out after 4 years, which I think is a good move for both the Giants and Jung Hoo Lee, because the deal may not get done if they're talking to Jung Hoo Lee about, his long-term future and saying, you got to stay in the organization deep into your 30s. This is someone who will have the opportunity to hit free agency again at the age, I think, around 29 or 30, which is when most American players hit free agency, because you go through high school, you go through college, a few years in the minors. By the time you've spent 6 years in an organization and you hit free agency, you're oftentimes 28, 29, 30, or 31 years old, and then you're moving past the prime of your career, or you're moving to the back end of the prime of your career. So this gives Jung Hoo Lee an opportunity to make $113 million over 6 years, or opt out after 4 years and reset the market if he's already had a really successful tenure in San Francisco. What it also does is helps the Giants recruit other free agents to the organization. Knowing that Jung Hoo Lee was a priority for this team is great, but now the organization must build up its rotation, must build out the rest of this Giants lineup. Can they get Matt Chapman to San Francisco and solidify third base? Can they bring Cody Bellinger to San Francisco and potentially give them a great defensive outfield that would then force Lee to potentially play in one of the corners and force the Giants to reconsider the way they want to shift things with regard to their outfield defense? Could they now use this as an opportunity to recruit free agent starting pitchers who are maybe wary of the way the Giants played defense in recent years, knowing that this organization has often lacked the athleticism to properly cover the ground in Oracle Park and other National League West ballparks? And so, to me, this move sets up more major moves for the Giants this offseason. It's the first piece of good news that the Giants have received in weeks, in the months since the end of the regular season, really since they hired Bob Melvin to be their manager, deciding to part ways with Gabe Kapler, fire him, go all in on Bob Melvin, bringing him up from San Diego, and announcing that he would be the leader into the future. Farhan Zaidi said they wanted to make splashes this offseason. They wanted to do something that could help them close the gap with the Los Angeles Dodgers and other teams in the National League, and signing Lee is a great first step for this team. So next up for the Giants, you turn to Matt Chapman at third base. You turn to your rotation, where you can look at Yoshinobu Yamamoto and potentially look at signing him to a record-setting contract. I'll get into all of Yamamoto's stats, why the Giants should sign him, and so much more in a future video. But if they don't get him, it's building through the rest of the rotation with a Blake Snell or a Jordan Montgomery or someone you trade for, like a Corbin Burns, a Tyler Glasnow. You do everything you can to neutralize the Dodgers' advantages. We saw last season how the Arizona Diamondbacks played in the NLDS against the Dodgers. They covered the outfield defense so well. They covered ground at Chase Field so well. So when the Dodgers would hit balls to the gap, the Diamondbacks had center fielders and corner outfielders who could cover. Corbin Carroll, great athlete, was often playing the corners with Alek Thomas in center field. It frustrated the Dodgers because you make good contact and all of a sudden you got someone tracking the ball down. It frustrated the Giants when they played them. The Giants were exposed when they played the Diamondbacks. So love this move for San Francisco. Love this move for a Giants organization that has desperately looked to capitalize in free agency. And really, there's no understating the significance of getting a big-time free agent out to Oracle Park, out to be a centerpiece of the Giants organization for at least the next 4 years, possibly 6, and depending on where things go, potentially for all of Jung Hoo Lee's major league career. If the Giants love what they see, if Jung Hoo Lee enjoys playing in San Francisco, there's so much to break down with regard to this deal, but no doubt in my mind that this is one of the major moves, major potential dominoes that the Giants needed to go their way this offseason, and now it's up to Farhan Zaidi, Giants president of baseball operations, Greg Johnson, Giants chairman, to see what they can do next to capitalize on this momentum, because one move is great, but you're going to need 2, 3, or 4 major moves if you're really going to close the gap between the Giants and the Dodgers. So, the Giants have gotten over one big hurdle. It's now time to see what other hurdles they can clear in the free agent trade markets this offseason. Thanks so much for tuning into this special emergency podcast edition of The Kerry Crowley Show. If you like what you see, please subscribe. Please comment your thoughts. We'll dive into the Jung Hoo Lee signing and so much more in the coming days. Thanks for watching.